Hi, let me start my lecture with an apology for not being with you in person today. I'm sorry to have missed what surely were fascinating lectures and discussions over the last day or so, in addition to having missed, I'm sure, what were terrific performances. The organizers have put together an amazing program, and I'm truly sorry to miss this opportunity to have attended. What I want to contribute today with this lecture on nation and world in modern dance is an overview of how English language scholars have written the history of modern dance, Ausdruckstanz, and related genres. Or perhaps I should say histories in the plural, because we now recognize a plurality of interconnected modern dance practices in countries around the globe. Yet this doesn't mean that national practices of modern dance are not equally significant for our understanding. The question now is how we balance local, national, regional, and global histories. So let me begin my formal remarks. In the English language historiography of dance, there has been a decided shift over the last decade from histories premised on the nation state to histories promising a transnational and global approach. Whereas the nation-state model plots choreographic families, what the organizers of this conference call a vertical approach, the transnational model traces networks of exchange, what the organizers call a horizontal approach. Whereas the nation-state model distinguishes theatrical from non-theatrical genres, the transnational model emphasizes how theatrical genres often shape non-theatrical genres, whether social, popular, folk, indigenous, or traditional, another theme of this conference. Whereas the nation-state model follows movement from centers of innovation to peripheries of derivation, the transnational model demonstrates how local conditions shape the assimilation and transformation of influences from abroad, another shift that informs the organizers' conception for this conference. Yet I am not advocating a rejection of the nation-state model. Rather, I am calling for histories of modern dance that integrate the nuance and detail of nation-state approaches with the sweep and generality of transnational approaches. As I outlined last year in a lecture at Museum Stücki in Łódź, the earliest histories of modern dance, written by critical advocates of the emergent genre, followed the movement across Europe, Russia, Great Britain, and the United States. The earliest account of modern dance was not only incipiently transnational, but also blurred genres by encompassing what later critics distinguished as modern ballet and modern dance. In 1913, German critic and poet Hans Brandenburg published Der moderne Tanz, the modern dance, a book that went through several editions by the year 1921. I wanted to show you a copy of the very earliest, actually. This is the 1913. The earlier editions started with chapters on Isadora Duncan, the Wiesenthal sisters, Ruth St. Denis, Dalcroze's Institute at Hellerau, and Diaghle's Ballet Russe, and included material on soloists less well known today, such as the Latvian-born St. Mahesa, the Ukrainian-born Alexander Sakharov, and Amsterdam-based Gertrude Leistekopf. And then later editions added material on Rudolf Laban and Mary Wigman. A book like this, and I can't really show you it all, but there's just this very, very, very rich selection of photographs at the end. There's Mahesa, etc. And that obviously was a very important part of these early books of modern dance, to also publish the photographs. But this incipiently transnational history by Brandenburg soon gave way to nationalist accounts in the mid-30s, as German and American critics scripted nationally distinct histories. After the National Socialists came to power in Germany in 1933, they codified the principles of Deutscher Tanz, German dance, as moderne Tanz was now called, and restricted its practice to dancers who could prove their Aryan origins. As a result, a number of dancers immigrated to other countries, but even more, remained in Germany and collaborated with the National Socialist state, which was the first German state to offer patronage to modern dance. That's such a complicated story of Ausdruckstanz and the National Socialists. It's something that I've written about in relationship to Mary Wigman. And I also want to show, trying to figure out where to hold up my books here. I have an essay in this new Oxford Handbook of Dance and Politics, which does some further reflection on those complex histories of Ausdruckstanz and National Socialism. I just wanted to make sure you knew about that essay. As German modern dance went into artistic decline during the years of National Socialism, American modern dance began to come into its own. During the 1920s and 1930s, there was lots of traffic between the United States and Europe as dancers traveled back and forth to study and to perform. But this transatlantic traffic nearly stopped altogether during the years of the Second World War, and once it started again, New York City became a magnet for aspiring modern dancers. During the 1930s, U.S. critics mostly acknowledged the transatlantic circulation of modern dance, but by the 1950s and 1960s, they mostly erased the European precedents and parallels for American modern dance. Thus, after the Second World War, histories of modern dance increasingly focused on American modern dance as New York City supplanted European capitals as centers for artistic innovation. In fact, by the mid-1970s, modern dance had become nearly synonymous with modern dance in New York City. Don McDonough's The Complete Guide to Modern Dance, published in 1976, for example, barely mentions developments outside Manhattan. Narrating the history of modern dance in terms of extended choreographic families, McDonough employs generation and genealogy as basic organizing principles. Here's my copy of The Complete Guide. I guess it's just, you can't see much there. But what I did want to show you is this choreographic chart, which is what the organizers of this festival call a vertical approach. And I hope that's very, very clear there. What McDonough overlooked were the modern dance movements taking shape in diverse contexts, from Argentina, Cuba, and Jamaica to Japan, India, and Israel. As local critics scripted the histories of these movements, they too relied on the paradigm of the nation state. Many of these critics were subsequently commissioned to write genre-specific sections of country-by-country entries for the International Encyclopedia of Dance, edited by Selma Jean Cohen, published in 1998. Collected together, these entries construct a model of centers and peripheries to map the dissemination of modern dance, now clearly differentiated from non-theatrical dance genres. Whereas generation had informed McDonough's Complete Guide, genre and nation organized Cohen's International Encyclopedia. I don't know if you can see behind me, I guess on this side, I have my complete volume of it. But here's one of these, this is what one of these looks like. You've probably seen that. I find it hugely valuable to have this entire, the collection in my office. Conceptualized by Cohen in the 70s and 80s and revised and edited by her associates in the 1990s, the International Encyclopedia profiles just over 100 countries, and these national entries are organized according to genre, typically a first section or sections on folk, ritual, traditional, popular, and or social dance. Categories differ according to the country, and then a section or sections on theatrical dance, at times further subdivided by period or by genre, ballet, modern, and or contemporary. Many country entries, such as the entry on Poland by Janina Pudelek, integrate ballet and modern developments under the rubric of theatrical dance. So Pudelek's section starts with the first performance of ballet in Poland, believed to have been in 1518 at the royal marriage of Bona Sforza to King Zygmunt I, and ends then with the Polish Dance Theater in Poznan, which was founded in 1973. 10 countries in the International Encyclopedia have a section devoted to modern dance: Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Cuba, France, Great Britain, Hungary, Japan, Korea, and Yugoslavia. These 10 sections all highlight the influence of modern dancers from Germany and the United States on the development of a national style. In this way, the International Encyclopedia implicitly narrates German and American modern dance as major traditions, the centers from which modern dance was disseminated across Europe, Latin America, and the Pacific Rim. Not surprisingly, Ausdruckstanz and American modern dance have entries of their own, surpassing the borders of Germany and the United States.